Well, welcome to another episode of the I Don't Want a Divorce podcast, where we are incredibly passionate about saving marriages in crisis. Now, before we get into today's topic, it's really helpful to us here doing our job when you leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And if this podcast has been helpful to you, I want you to encourage you to use social media to get the word out to others so we can help them in their marital crisis. Now, in today's podcast, I begin a series of podcasts based on my brand new book. There's always a brand new book with Dr. David E. Clarke. And my brand new book is I Didn't Want a Divorce, Now What? Subtitle, How to Deal with Your Ex and Your Kids, Heal, and Get a Reset. So many people have been divorced and they did not want the divorce. And now they have to recover, and this book's going to help you do that. I don't think there's anything quite like it on the market. I think you'll be helped by it. If you know someone, certainly, who's going through a divorce now, has been through a divorce and is stuck and having trouble recovering, that's the book for that person. So if you got divorced and it was an unwanted divorce, this book is for you. Very easy to not recover from a divorce, to get stuck. Millions of people do. And if you don't recover, the unresolved pain will affect you for the rest of your life. Now, for the next month, this is February 16, from February 16 through March 16, 4 weeks, this book is on a special pre-sale on my website, davideclarkephd.com. That's Clarke with an E, davideclarkephd.com. This will be a $20 paperback book and worth every penny, but for this month, you get $5 off. Okay, that's $15 plus postage. And the book should be ready for release by March 16. So we're just putting the book together now, cover, editing process, but we're putting it together. So for the next 4 weeks, go to the website, you'll get $5 off. And then come March 16, my beautiful wife, Sandy, the blonde, will be gathering the orders, of course, and she'll be going to the post office. Why should I go to the post office? Anyway, but she will go to the post office and she will mail you your books. Now, today's topic. There's no such thing as an amicable divorce. You hear this a lot in our culture and even in the church. It's baloney. I'm going to tell you why. It's a myth, both in the world and in the church. Our divorce was amicable. Don't you just love it when somebody says that line to you? This person goes on to tell you that the divorce process was wonderful and hassle-free. Everything was divided up in a reasonable and adult fashion. The money situation worked out well, and the children are doing fine. The clincher, delivered with a sweet smile, is the line, my ex-spouse and I get along beautifully, and we have an effective co-parenting relationship. In response to this person's description of a pain-free divorce, you're supposed to say things like this. That's great. I'm so happy for you. That's the way everyone should handle a divorce. It's best for the kids if you can divorce that way. What this person is trying to tell you is that the divorce was no big deal. Nobody got hurt. Everybody's fine. You know what I say? Baloney. Really? Not even close to the truth. This wasn't the breakup of a dating relationship of a couple of weeks or a couple of months. This was a marriage that's sacred to God. That is a big deal. It's a big deal in heaven, and it should be a big deal here. It's a big deal in the Bible. It's like saying, that head-on collision we had as a family in our car wasn't so bad. We're all fine now. No, damage was done. People are in recovery. So when a client gives me the amicable divorce speech in my therapy office, sitting on the blue couch right over there, or over the phone in a phone advice session, I don't respond with the above expected platitudes. I give 2 responses, neither of which are well received. First, I say, if your divorce was so easy and you get along so well with your ex-spouse, why did you get divorced? I mean, if everything's so great, why are you divorced now? Second, I say, I appreciate the effort, but I'm not buying it. You are in denial. You don't want to face the terrible pain of your divorce. So if it was amicable, you don't have to. I need to hear the real truth about your divorce so I can help you and your children heal and rebuild. I could add, what are you doing in my therapist's office if your divorce was so wonderful? Now, I'm a clinical psychologist, have been for 35 years. I know what denial looks like, and this is denial. Classic case. The truth about divorce isn't pretty. A psychologist like myself, who's worked with couples for 30 plus years, 35 actually, I know better. No one has ever had an amicable divorce. No one. Plenty of spouses say they have, but they are lying to themselves. Divorce is the death of a marriage. It's the death of a family. It's the death of a dream. There was nothing good or nice or reasonable or amicable about it. That's why in Malachi 2:16, God says, I hate divorce. If divorce was amicable, God would have said something like, well, sorry you broke up, but it's no big deal. He didn't say that. He said he hates it. God hates divorce because it breaks a sacred relationship and hurts everyone. The husband, the wife, the kids, the grandkids, the cousins, the entire family, neighbors, people you know at work, the church, everyone's affected. The ripple effect is massive. Here's the truth about divorce. Divorce is a deeply traumatic, incredibly painful, heartbreaking, soul-wounding, life-changing experience for you and your children. It's the truth, no matter why and how the marriage ended. But it is particularly the truth if you didn't want the divorce. I wrote this book for folks who didn't want the divorce. Your divorce was, in fact, the last thing you wanted. Your deepest desire was to have a happy, intimate marriage and an intact, healthy family. We all want that. The divorce has blown these dreams to smithereens. You're wounded, you're traumatized, you're shaken, you're depressed, you're fearful. Divorce turns your life upside down. Divorce changes everything. You don't know how to pick up the pieces of your shattered life, heal, and move on with confidence and purpose. I know how. I should after 35 years. My post-divorce plan of action will show you exactly how to bring order to chaos, deal successfully with your ex and your children, and if you have an ex with kids, you're going to have to keep dealing with them. Heal from the pain of the divorce and get a reset in your life. I'm going to help you build a new and better life. That's right, better. It's hard to see that from where you are now, but you can have it. God isn't a God of misery and hopelessness. He's a God of total restoration and a fresh start. He is a God of better. Now, there are two authors of this book. Now, I'm giving you the podcast version, of course, of the book, but there's two authors of this book. Of course, I'm one of them. I've got a PhD in clinical psychology and a master's degree in biblical studies. For 3 decades, I've been helping men and women to recover from divorce. I try as hard as I can to save marriages, but divorce does happen. And when that does happen, I help people recover. And that's what I put into this book. I didn't want a divorce. Now what? Now, my writing partner is my dad, William Clarke. He's 87 years old now, still going. He has a master's degree in marriage, family, and child therapy and was a practicing therapist for decades and a wonderful person and a godly man. It's like writing a book with Moses. He knows everything. I do the writing, Dad does the editing. So if you did not want a divorce, this book and frankly these podcasts are for you. Whatever the circumstances of your divorce, you'll find help in my recovery process. But my focus is on these two specific scenarios. Scenario number 1, your spouse divorced you for non-biblical reasons. You were dumped, rejected, cast aside by a selfish and sinful spouse. Your ex gave you a bunch of sinful, stupid excuses for the divorce. You can check out my podcast on the top 10 lame excuses to end a marriage to hear these stupid excuses. And people that are sinning give the same dumb ones over and over again. And with no-fault divorce, they don't even need a good reason. We've decided as a country, it doesn't make any difference if you get divorced. You don't even need a good reason, which is ridiculous, but that's the way it is. Scenario number 2, you divorced your spouse for a biblical reason. In this scenario number 2, you didn't want a divorce, but you were released by God from the marriage because your spouse committed adultery and wouldn't stop it, was not a Christian and abandoned you, or engaged in chronic emotional and or physical abuse of you. That's also a biblical reason for divorce. Now, you may still be single, you may be dating, you may be remarried, your relationship status doesn't matter. You need to heal from the divorce, or your unresolved pain will continue to damage your life and relationships. It will follow you the rest of your life until we clean it out. So throughout these podcasts, I'm focusing on the woman who is divorced. Now, I'm saying it's the woman. It could just as easily be the man who is divorced. If you're a man saying, hey, he's talking to the women, I'm talking to you too. Whether you are a man or a woman, my principles remain the same and my plan will be effective for you. Now, let me go over just briefly the plan, and we'll be going through these podcasts, of course. 4 parts to my plan. Part 1, you will have a better life. You will. I begin with a strong dose of biblical truth and encouragement. You need to know you can have God with you in the recovery process, and God is good with your divorce. He absolutely is. In fact, you need God with you or you won't recover. Part 2 is, I call, from chaos to order. Your life needs organization, it needs structure, it needs security. You'll build a support team, put new systems in place with your ex and your kids, and focus on self-care. Nobody else is going to take care of you. You're going to have to do that now. Your ex certainly didn't. Part 3, here's how healing works. It's time to clean out all the unresolved pain and trauma in your life. You'll take healing actions in these relationships with God, with yourself, with your ex, with your children, younger and older, and others who hurt you in the divorce process and those who hurt you in your life. We're going to clean all of it out, and we're going to do it with this process. And forgiveness is a key part of this here's how healing works section. I know how forgiveness works. The Christian community, by and large, doesn't know. I know. It's God, of course, is my source, but I'll tell you how to do that. Part 4 is daring to date again. Not that you're thinking about that now, but you might be. Once you're in solid recovery, you can consider dating. I show you who to avoid, the losers to avoid in the dating game, and how to find the right partner, the winner, how to find a winner, and how to build a healthy relationship. So let's start this journey together to your new and better life. It will be 3 of us on this journey, you, me, and God. Listen to this prayer of David. In the day of my trouble, and David had a lot of trouble. We see that in Psalm after Psalm after Psalm, and God came through for him. In Psalm 86:7, listen to what he says. David says, in the day of my trouble, I will call to you, for you will answer me. God is going to answer you. It's my prayer that my plan will be a big part of God's answer for you in the day of your trouble. Now, don't forget to leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, and share this podcast and the ones to come with those you know who need divorce recovery. And to pre-order I Didn't Want a Divorce, Now What? Just simply go to my website, davideclarkephd.com, Clarke with an E. You can order it, get $5 off, and it will be sent to you in a few weeks. Now, in the next podcast, I'll show you that you don't have to be alone in your divorce recovery process.